Well, that wasn't what you wanted to see last night, Thursday night football. It's orange and blue today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason. And this one stings, man. The three biggest takeaways from the loss to the Chargers. Going to break that down today. Andrew Mason checking in. Of course, he's on the road, was in Los Angeles. I'll play a special video for Mace here in just a little bit, but I am Cecil Lammey, and I'm still disappointed. I feel a little bit better than I did last night, to be sure. Feel a little bit better than I did this afternoon, at certain points of the afternoon. And we're here to talk about it. Here to talk about it with you on this program and just get into the three biggest takeaways from the Broncos' loss to the Chargers. Yeah, man, it stings. It absolutely stinks because you could have gone to the postseason. You could have found a way, and you still can, but you could have wrapped it up last night, and that's not going to happen. You are not yet there. Orange and blue today, Cecil Lammey, three takeaways. Number one, Justin Sternad had a terrible game. There were 8 passes thrown his way, 7 were complete for over 100 yards. It's a terrible day. It was a Levi Wallace type of day. And unlike Levi Wallace, who did get benched, at least in the final 12 snaps for Chris Abrams' drain, you saw Justin Sternad still out there when Drew Sanders was getting a sack. So I don't know why that wasn't changed at some point. Sometimes you're just going to have a bad game. Doesn't mean that Sternad's been terrible this year. He's had his moments. He's been good at times. He's been okay, mostly, and he was terrible against the Chargers. So in that case, I mean, you just got to pull him. You got to bench him. And the Broncos did not do that. Takeaway number 2. Sean Payton, why'd you go away from running the ball? After it was 21-10, you ran the ball 7 times, not including Bo Nix's scrambles. You ran the ball 7 times. After it was 21-10. You just went away from the ground game when the reason why you got to 21-10 was because of the ground game. From working under center and getting Audric Estime going, which was great to see. Javonte Williams as a runner looked better. Still don't want him getting 11 targets. And that's not on Bo. It's partly on Bo because the ball leaves his hand. But I've seen some people say, oh, that's your boy Bo. You're covering for him. Be fair. Yeah, drop some better damn plays so that you can attack a defense in the middle of the field. So for me, it's not about protecting my boy, Bo Nix. It's about saying, I don't want Javonte getting 11 targets. It's a terrible idea. Have some targets go to the middle of the field. Have some targets go to Marvin Mims on a screen pass. They could have done that. That would have been better. Takeaway number 3. Vance Joseph has to find a way against elite level quarterbacks that you don't sack. Now, that's not always the case. When you face a Pat Mahomes, you'll likely get to him a bit more because the Chiefs' offensive line isn't as good as the Chargers. Lamar Jackson picked this team apart, and Justin Herbert picked this team apart. So 2 quarterbacks that you really didn't get to were just sitting back there picking you apart. And this defense is predicated on being aggressive, getting after the quarterback. But when they don't, you have to have a plan. They did not have a plan. And I thought Chris Abrams' drain played great. Pat Surtain always does, for the most part. Safety play was hit or miss. Some misses there last night. And PJ Locke slipping on a play that Justin Herbert picked up a first down with his legs. Also Locke without his back turn. That's just a great play. That's just a great throw from Herbert to get that score to Davis. So, you have to have a plan for when your initial plan isn't working. So it basically comes down to adjustments. Why weren't there any adjustments from this team? It's curious. But I talked a lot last night. I talked for 4 hours today on Dover and Cecil. You can check some of those out on YouTube. But I want to hear what my friend, your friend, our buddy, Andrew Mason has to say. Here's Mace on the case.
Well, here we are, Broncos country, the day after. Thanks, Cease, for tossing it over to me. I'm still here in LA. the day after, the morning after, as I sit here and record this, although I know you're watching this in the afternoon or evening in a lot of places, wherever you are. Man, there's a lot of irrationality out there, and it's understandable. I get the frustration, but man, start seeing things saying like Sean Payton's one of the worst coaches in football, and I'm like, what? You're not paying attention. Now, that being said, can you say that Jim Harbaugh had the better night coaching-wise? Yes, you can. Can you say that Sean Payton mismanaged the end-of-half scenario, which led to Traymon Smith colliding with the returner, the fair catch, the penalty, the fair catch free kick, 3 points? Yes. But there were so many things beyond this that led to the Broncos losing. And I'm particularly hung up on the defense. And the reason why I'm focused on that side is because this is not a one-game thing. Last night, giving up 34 points to the Chargers, letting them march downfield repeatedly. Well, we're sitting here and we have now seen 3 games in which something has broken down substantially on the defense. Of course, the coverage in that first game without Riley Moss that led to Jerry Jeudy putting up more yardage by a single receiver than any single receiver has ever had in the history of the Denver Broncos. You start there. But the Broncos adjusted. They overcame that. In fact, Levi Wallace, who played that game, was inactive for a second straight contest. Chris Abrams-Drain played extensively again, as he did last Sunday, and he had a key pick, which, of course, set up that end of first half mismanagement. But the Broncos were gashed on the ground by a team that has been unable to run the football since J.K. Dobbins was hurt. Gus Edwards came into the night having never had a run of longer than 12 yards this season. Well, and then he had a 43-yarder. Broncos ended the night allowing 117 yards on the ground, allowing too many open receivers downfield. That's a collective thing, not just one person. And you're also seeing teams now kind of really try to expose the Broncos at the linebacker position. You know, you think of Justin Sternad being left chasing as flailing and chasing as Jonathan Taylor galloped into the open field last week before he dropped the ball at the goal line. And you think of Sternad in coverage on Thursday night. Of course, there is the unnecessary roughness call where, is it ticky-tack? Yes, but it's also the reality of the NFL. I mean, I think to some degree, they are asking a little bit of the impossible on defenders in that situation, but at the same time, you got to know what the situation is. You can't have that. There was actually a word that was thrown out there last night by John Franklin Myers. Going to play the comment from him in the locker room and going to bring up the word that he discusses that stands out.
I mean, I think we're on a 4-game, win streak. Naturally, I think, there's some complacency that sets in. I don't think that you've seen it until the second half, but, I think that, again, it's a wake-up call. It was when you have 3 games to win 1, it feels a whole lot better than 2 games to win 1. And, now we got 2 games to win 1, so, it's next up.
Don't necessarily like hearing complacency as he's trying to describe what happened in the second half. But that certainly can happen when you have a 4-game winning streak and you are in front by 2 scores in the first half. And yeah, in front by 2 scores in the third quarter because the offense came right out in the second half and drove to a field goal. That's part of why I don't think everything at the end of the first half was the huge momentum swing that a lot of people are making it out to be. Actually, the momentum swing was the Broncos having a stop of the Chargers in field goal range and Justin Sternad getting called for unnecessary roughness. That, I think, is the real pivot on which this game turned. The Chargers scored 1 play later, got it down to 5 points, and then the Broncos offense quickly shuffled off the field. And then the Chargers did it again as the Broncos defense was left chasing and flailing in that second half. I actually asked Pat Surtain about kind of, what's going on. I mean, he mentioned attention to detail, and I said, okay, sort of how is that manifesting this month? Because you've had 2 30-plus games this month, and that was something that, aside from the Ravens game back in Week 9, really haven't seen from this defense all season. Here's Pat commenting on that.
If you look at offense, they're going to make their plays. They professionals at the end of the day. But when we shoot ourselves in the foot and allow them to drive down the field with mistakes that we made, I just think that that's costly on our part. But we just got to correct it and move on, because obviously the season's about to come to an end, but we obviously know we got to finish the season out the right way to get toward where our destiny is taking us. So.
Gonna have to move on. You're gonna have to find a way to move on going forward. Mace here in LA on Orange and Blue today. Thanks again to Cecil Lammey for throwing it over to me. I don't want to talk too much about the officiating, although I did bring up the Justin Sternad call. But like I said, you got to know what the situation is. You got to know that the quarterback slides do not touch, period. Did Justin Herbert sell it a little bit? Yeah. Selling it is a part of sports. I mean, you sell pass interference if you're on offense. You sell a charge if you're playing basketball. Welcome to sports in 2024. But there's no denying that the pass interference no call against Marvin that did not go the way of the Broncos, did not go the way of Marvin Mims Jr. Was it impactful? Yes. I don't want to dwell too much on it, because there are so many factors within the Broncos' control, like what they did on defense, that matter. And certainly part of that play that was in the Broncos' control was Bo Nix's throw, because he does put too much air under it. Not the type of throw that he had when he hit Marvin Mims Jr. against Cleveland a couple of weeks back. So here's what Mims said about his conversation with the official after no flag came.
Yeah, bang bang play. I thought he got there a little early, but I talked to the ref after, and he said, it was good timing by him. At the end of the day, that's all I can say about it, honestly. But it's one of those plays you kind of want back, but it's kind of the way the ball goes sometimes.
Okay, good timing by him. Well, that's either gaslighting or completely ridiculous, considering the view that the official had. I don't think it's anything intentional. I know there are some people like, oh, the refs are out to get the Broncos. Well, no, they're not out to get the Broncos. Okay. I believe very strongly in Hanlon's razor on this one, which is that you should not attribute malice to something that can be explained by incompetence. And I think that's the case here. It was just incompetent. It was just a bad call. It's funny to think about this week or in recent days, the late Jim Tunney, longtime NFL official, who passed away. And Jim Tunney was pretty active writing and commenting until not long before he died. And he would talk about the state of officiating and felt that they needed, better training, more good officials. So just sort of bear that in mind when you think about a game like this and some of the things that happened. But you can't go back on that, unfortunately, for the Broncos. They didn't get the play they needed there. And now it's on to the mini bye. And on Tuesday, when I was in the locker room, so many guys talked about how nice it would be to have that mini bye. But you obviously wanted to win and feel good. So now they're going to be sitting there all weekend, letting this loss marinate. Here's Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, obviously that sucks. You definitely don't want to sit 3 days without work off of a loss. But I think it'll be good for us in the long run. We'll get a chance to rest up and heal up a little bit over these next couple of days and then be able to hit the run. And, we fully expect to be in the dance. And this rest will go a long way as that continues throughout January.
Yeah, and you kind of hear the confidence coming back in his voice at the end. No surprise coming from the guy that we call the mayor. But that was one thing I did get out of the locker room last night, is that there's very much a sense of, let's try to flush this and let's move on quickly. As much as this hurts, we got 2 more shots to do this, which is probably why Mike McGlinchey said that this game, while frustrating, didn't hurt any more than other losses.
I mean, no, I don't think it hurts more or less than any other loss. I think we still have an opportunity. We have 2 weeks to go with an opportunity to control our own destiny here, and it's just about bouncing back next week against Cincinnati.
So they're on to Cincinnati. Had to be said. That's pretty much it for me on this Friday. I got to get going. Got to make my way east here. So, Cease, I'll hand the baton back to you and hope that you've found a calmer place after what I'm sure was a pretty emotional post game, as it usually is when the Broncos lose a game in that fashion. Back to you, Cease.
There we have it. Andrew Mason. Thank you very much, Mace. He knows me so well. As he hands me back the baton and the microphone, I will take it from him and I will say, I had to watch some Alan Watts last night. Had to meditate last night. I meditate every day, but twice in one day is the thing sometimes. And I had to do that because I am not angry. I have a sense of anger around me. So I am Cecil Lammey. I am not angry, but I have an angry sense around me because I'm disappointed, man. Disappointed in this team. Disappointed in their performance. Disappointed in not having the postseason wrapped up. I don't like the Bo Nix haters. In fact, I downright despise them because it's been a bunch of BS that we've had to hear since the kid was drafted about Todd McShay or 3rd round grade or anything that we've had to hear. We've had to hear it all. And it would be nice to be like, hey, that rookie quarterback that you said couldn't play got you in the playoffs. And as I said in the postgame show last night, now the buts come out. But. Bo Nix is pretty good. But. Broncos got to the playoffs. But. They still haven't got to the playoffs. And personally, for me, I don't like the conversation around like, if this team loses and this team loses and then you can win, like they could still get into the playoffs this week, I believe. Again, I don't like keeping up with that stuff because I just want to win and you're in. I want to win and the Broncos, you're in. That's it. So there you go. That's kind of it for today. I certainly appreciate everyone out there for watching. Again, I hope everyone has a great Christmas. Mace and I will be back on Monday. I believe Mace might be doing some stuff on either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I know that's Christmas Eve and Christmas. So, we'll have some stuff for you there. Thursday, Friday, hitting it hard. Saturday, post-game show. Might even do a little Saturday pregame show. Like, you never know. With Orange and Blue today, we are everywhere, and we certainly appreciate you. So there you go. I hope the Broncos get on track, man. This is a better team than played last night. The team that played last night is not the team that they have been. It's not the team that they can be. They let us down against the Chargers. And I didn't want them to lose, full disclosure, obviously. But I hope this taste resonates with them, and I hope they hate it. I hope they hate losing. I hope they hate getting embarrassed. The Chargers are not better than them, and they've swept them for the first time in 14 years. The Chargers are not better. You just played Justin Sternad way too long. You had a terrible defensive game plan, and you stopped running the ball. If you start running the ball, if you have better defensive adjustments, and if someone, Levi Wallace, Justin Sternad, someone is having an off night, pull them. No one, let's say Pat Surtain gives up a couple of touchdowns. You're not pulling that guy because he's this mega star. But if your name's not Pat Surtain or Zach Allen or Nick Benito or Jonathan Cooper, there's actually quite a few on defense. But if you're struggling, hey, it's just not your night. We're going to get someone else in there. That's what Vance Joseph should have done. So anyway, a Merry Christmas to everyone out there. We will be back on Monday, so we'll have a Monday show for you. Enjoy your football weekend. Go watch some college football playoff. Take a walk in nature. Be amongst the world and be present. We appreciate you very, very much. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. And we certainly do hope the Broncos get to the postseason. That's it. I'm Cecil Lammey saying, oh, come on. Stay tuned, everybody. And would you please stay frosty?